My mom demands I give my wedding dress to my sister because she deserves it more. I, 27F, am getting married in 2 months to my fiancé Jake, 29M. We've been together for 4 years, and honestly, planning this wedding has been a dream come true until now. Here's the background. I have a younger sister, Emma, 24F, who has always been the golden child in our family. She's the one who got straight A's, went to medical school, and basically can do no wrong in my parents' eyes. Don't get me wrong, I love my sister, but growing up in her shadow wasn't easy. I went to community college, worked my way through a business degree, and now run a small but successful graphic design company. My parents have always been less enthusiastic about my choices. About 8 months ago, I found the dress. I'm not usually one for fancy things, but when I saw this dress in a boutique window, I literally stopped walking. It was this gorgeous, vintage-inspired A-line with delicate lace sleeves and tiny pearl buttons down the back. The price tag made me dizzy, $3,200, but I had been saving specifically for my dress, and Jake and I had agreed this was my one splurge item for the wedding. The thing is, this dress wasn't just expensive because of the designer. It required extensive alterations to fit properly. I'm 5 feet 2 inches and curvy, while the sample was a size 8 and made for someone much taller. I spent an additional $800 on alterations over 3 separate fittings. The seamstress basically had to reconstruct the entire bodice and shorten everything. It fits me like a glove now, literally made for my body. 2 weeks ago, my sister Emma called me crying. Her boyfriend of 6 months, David, 26M, had proposed during a weekend getaway. I was genuinely happy for her. She seemed over the moon, and David is actually a really sweet guy. However, Emma being Emma, she immediately started planning this elaborate wedding for next spring. Here's where it gets messy. Yesterday, Emma came over to my apartment with our mom, 52F, to see the dress. I thought it was sweet that she wanted to get ideas, so I brought it out and even put it on to show them how it looked. Emma went silent for a long moment, then said, "Oh my God, this is perfect. This is exactly what I've been envisioning for my wedding." I laughed and said something like, "Right? I have great taste," thinking she was just complimenting my choice. Then she said, "No, I mean, I want to wear this dress for my wedding." The room went dead quiet. I thought she was joking, so I laughed again and said, "What, are you planning to lose 30 pounds and shrink for inches? Because this thing is literally tailored to my body." That's when my mom jumped in. "Actually, that's not a bad idea. You two could share the dress." I stared at both of them like they'd grown second heads. "Share? Mom, this is MY wedding dress. For MY wedding. In 2 months. Emma started tearing up. She's always been a crier when she doesn't get her way, and said, "But I've been dreaming about a dress exactly like this since I was little. You know, I've always been the one who cared more about weddings and romance." "You've been engaged for literally 2 weeks, Emma." "That doesn't matter. I've been planning my dream wedding since I was 7 years old. You never even wanted to get married until you met Jake." This is technically true. I was never the little girl dreaming about weddings. But that doesn't mean I don't want MY wedding to be special. My mom then dropped this bomb. "Honey, you have to understand, Emma deserves to have the perfect dress more than you do. She's been waiting for this her whole life, and frankly, she'll appreciate it more. Plus, David comes from a very prominent family. There will be important people at their wedding." I was so shocked I couldn't speak for a moment. Then I asked, "What exactly are you suggesting?" "Mom, well, you could wear the dress for your wedding, and then Emma could have it altered for hers next spring." "Altered how?" "It's completely custom fitted to my body. Emma, we could have it let out and lengthened. It's not impossible. It would basically need to be completely reconstructed. Again, do you have an extra $800 for alterations?" Emma and Mom exchanged a look. Then Mom said, "Actually, we were thinking maybe you could just let Emma wear it instead." "Instead of what?" "Instead of you wearing it. You could find something else." I literally laughed out loud. "Are you insane? I've had this dress for 8 months. My wedding is in 2 months. I've already had my final fitting." That's when Emma really started crying. You're being so selfish. You know I've always been the romantic one. I've been planning every detail of my dream wedding since high school. I have Pinterest boards going back years. This dress is literally exactly what I've always pictured myself in. Then you should have bought it yourself when you got engaged. I didn't know about it. And now I can't afford it because David and I are paying for medical school and his residency applications. My mom got that disappointed look she's perfected over the years. I'm really surprised by your attitude. I raised you to be more generous with your sister. Emma has always been there for you.
When?
When has Emma ever been there for me? She helped you with math in high school. She was tutoring me because you made her, and she complained about it the entire time. The fight escalated from there. Emma kept crying about how this was her dream dress and how I was ruining her vision. Mom kept going on about family generosity and how Emma deserves this more because she's more wedding-oriented and because David's family has money, so the wedding will be more significant. Finally, I told them both to leave. As they were going, Mom said, "Think carefully about this decision. Emma is your only sister, and someday you'll regret putting a dress before family." Now here's where I might be the asshole. I immediately called the seamstress and asked her to add a few extra security measures to prevent any unauthorized alterations. I may have also mentioned that under no circumstances should the dress be released to anyone but me. Emma has been blowing up my phone with texts about how I'm stealing her dream and how selfish I'm being. She sent me screenshots of her Pinterest boards dating back to 2018, so not exactly since she was 7, but whatever, that do show several dresses similar to mine. My mom called this morning to tell me that Emma cried all night and couldn't eat breakfast. She said I'm being unnecessarily cruel and that a good sister would share something so important. She also mentioned that Emma's future mother-in-law has been asking to see photos of the dress, and Emma is too embarrassed to admit she doesn't have one picked out yet. Here's the thing. I get that Emma is stressed about wedding planning. I get that money is tight for them. I even get that my dress is beautiful and she genuinely loves it. But I cannot wrap my head around the logic that I should give up MY dress for MY wedding so she can wear it instead. Some additional context. Jake thinks my family is being absolutely insane and has offered to buy Emma any dress she wants, up to $2,000, as an engagement gift. Emma declined because it's not about the money, it's about that dress. I offered to take Emma shopping and help her find something similar. She said nothing would compare, and I was missing the point. My dad, 54M, has stayed out of it, but when pressed, he said it's just a dress and I should keep the peace. Emma's wedding isn't even until next May. Plenty of time to find another dress. My wedding is November 23rd, exactly 8 weeks away. I'm starting to doubt myself because my whole family is making me feel like a monster. Emma called me this morning sobbing, saying I'm the worst sister ever and that she thought I loved her. So Reddit, AITA, for refusing to give my wedding dress to my sister? Edit, a few people have asked about sizes. I'm 5 feet 2 inches, size 12, with a 36 DD chest. Emma is 5 feet 6 inches, size 8, with a 32 B chest. The dress would need to be completely reconstructed to fit her. We're not talking minor alterations here. Edit 2. For those asking about the timeline, Emma got engaged 2 weeks ago and immediately started planning a wedding for May 2025. I've been engaged for 8 months, with my wedding in November 2024. She literally knew I had this dress before she even got engaged. Update 1 hour ago. Well, this escalated quickly. After reading your comments, I felt validated enough to call my mom back and firmly tell her that the dress conversation is over. I will be wearing MY dress to MY wedding, and that's final. Mom started with the guilt trip again, but I cut her off and said, "Mom, would you have asked Emma to give me her dress if the situation were reversed?" Long pause. Then, that's different.
How?
Emma is more sentimental about these things. So, I don't get to be sentimental about my own wedding? She couldn't answer that. But here's the kicker. Apparently Emma has been telling people, including David's family, that she's wearing a $4,000 designer dress to her wedding. She never mentioned it was supposed to be MY dress that I would be giving her. She's been showing people photos of me wearing it and claiming it's her dress. I found this out because David's sister commented on Emma's Instagram post, a photo Emma took of me in the dress yesterday, saying, "OMG, the dress is gorgeous. You're going to look amazing." Emma just replied with heart emojis. So now I'm wondering if this was premeditated. Did Emma come over yesterday specifically planning to claim my dress? The timing seems awfully convenient. She gets engaged and immediately needs to see my dress? I screenshotted everything before Emma could delete it and send it to my mom with a message. Explain to me how this is a manipulation and theft. Haven't heard back yet. Jake is livid and wants to uninvite them from our wedding. I'm not ready to go nuclear yet, but I'm definitely not giving him my dress. Edit 3. Emma just called me screaming that I'm ruining her reputation because David's family thinks she's wearing a designer dress and now she'll be humiliated if she shows up in something cheaper. I told her that's a problem of her own making and maybe she shouldn't have lied to her future in-laws. She hung up on me. Update 2 to 30 minutes ago. My dad just called. Apparently Emma has been crying for hours and told David's family that I'm being mean to her about her wedding dress. David's mom called my mom asking what was going on. My mom, bless her heart, told David's mom the truth, that Emma wanted to wear my dress instead of buying her own. According to my dad, David's mom was confused and asked why Emma didn't just buy her own dress if she liked mine so much. David's mom then apparently said, "Oh, I thought Emma had already purchased her dress based on the photos she showed us." So now David's family knows Emma was lying to them. My mom is embarrassed and Emma is furious at me for making her look bad. Dad says Emma is now claiming I sabotaged her relationship with David's family by not giving her the dress. Because somehow this is still my fault. The best part? David's mom offered to take Emma dress shopping and pay for whatever she wants, up to $5,000 as an early wedding gift. Emma declined and said she only wants that specific dress. So let me get this straight. My fiancé offered to buy her any dress up to $2,000. David's mom offered to buy her any dress up to $5,000. She could order the exact same dress I have. She has 6 months to find something, but none of that matters because she wants MY's specific dress that's been altered to fit MY body. At this point, I'm convinced this isn't about the dress at all. This is about Emma not being able to handle that I have something she can't have. My dad thinks I should just give her the dress to keep the peace, but also admitted he'd be pretty annoyed if someone tried to take something he'd spent $4,000 on. The cognitive dissonance is real, y'all. Edit 4. I just realized something. Emma's wedding is in May. Wedding dress shopping season starts in earnest after the holidays. She has literally the perfect timing to find her dream dress and multiple people offering to pay for it. But she'd rather destroy my wedding experience by demanding my dress 2 months before my wedding. Yeah, this isn't about the dress. Final update, 15 minutes ago. Well, Reddit, you were right about Emma's motives. She just sent me a long text that basically confirmed everything you all suspected. Here's the relevant part, with some of the more nasty bits removed. I can't believe you're being so selfish about this. You've had everything easy your entire life. You got to go to college without student loans because mom and dad helped you. You found Jake who worships the ground you walk on, and now you have this perfect wedding planned. Meanwhile, I've been working my ass off in medical school. David and I are broke, and I finally have something good happening, and you won't even share. You don't even care about clothes or fashion like I do. You wear the same 3 outfits to work every week. But I've always cared about looking perfect and being beautiful. I need this dress because David's family has money, and they expect me to look like I belong with them. You're marrying Jake, who doesn't care what you wear. He'd marry you in a garbage bag. But David's family notices these things. I'm not asking you to give up your wedding. I'm asking you to give up one dress that you'll wear for a few hours and then never again. I would wear it and treasure it and appreciate it way more than you ever could. You just want it because it's expensive, but I want it because it's perfect. If you really loved me, you'd understand that this is more important to me than it is to you. There's more, but that's the gist. Emma thinks she deserves my dress because her in-laws have money and will judge her. I don't care about fashion. Jake loves me regardless of what I wear, which means I don't deserve to look beautiful. She'll appreciate it more. It's more important to her. The entitlement and narcissism are breathtaking. She literally said, "I've had everything easy. I worked 2 jobs through college and built my business from nothing." While she's had it hard, parents paid for her undergrad and are helping with medical school. I screenshotted the text and sent it to my mom with a message. "This is your golden child. Are you proud?" My mom called 5 minutes later in tears apologizing. Apparently, she hadn't realized how twisted Emma's thinking had become. She's now trying to convince Emma to go to therapy and has promised to stay out of the dress situation entirely. Jake read the text and said, "We're eloping." He's only half joking. So to answer the original question, no, I'm not the asshole for keeping my own wedding dress. And thanks to Emma's text, I now have written proof that this was never about love or sentiment. It was about status, money, and her belief that she inherently deserves things more than I do. Emma can figure out her own dress situation. I'll be wearing mine in 8 weeks, and it's going to be perfect. Thanks for helping me see clearly, Reddit. Sometimes you need strangers on the internet to confirm that your family is being absolutely bonkers. Edit 5. For those asking, yes, Emma is still invited to the wedding for now. She's my sister, and despite everything, I love her. But Jake and I agreed that if there are any more dress-related shenanigans, she's out. Also, I'm having the dress stored at the seamstress's shop until the week of the wedding. Just in case. Story 2. My dad showed up with his new wife to my graduation and tried to sit next to my mom. Posted in r/family by you/grad student 2024. I, 22F, just graduated from college yesterday with my bachelor's degree in computer science. This should have been one of the happiest days of my life, but my parents managed to turn it into a complete disaster, and I'm still processing what happened. Some background. My parents divorced when I was 15, and it was messy. Like, lawyers involved, police called twice, restraining order filed messy. My dad, 48M, had been cheating on my mom, 46F, for over 2 years with his coworker Jessica, now 35F. The affair came out when I accidentally saw text messages on his phone asking Jessica what lingerie she wanted him to buy her for their weekend getaway, while my mom was upstairs recovering from her second miscarriage. The divorce took 3 years to finalize because my dad kept hiding assets and trying to get out of paying alimony. He was a successful insurance broker making 6 figures, while my mom had been a stay-at-home mom for most of their 18-year marriage. During the divorce proceedings, he tried to claim that my mom was mentally unstable and shouldn't get custody of me, despite having zero evidence to support this claim. My mom, who I'll call Sarah, is honestly one of the strongest people I know. She went back to school during the divorce to get her nursing degree, worked part-time at a medical clinic, and still managed to support me through high school while dealing with my dad's constant legal harassment. She never once badmouthed him to me, even though she had every right to. My dad married Jessica 6 months after the divorce was finalized. Jessica had been pushing for them to get married during the divorce proceedings, but my dad's lawyer told him it would look bad in court. Jessica has always resented me, I think because I'm a reminder of my dad's previous life. She's made several comments over the years about how I look just like Sarah and how it's uncomfortable for her when I visit. For the past 4 years of college, my parents have managed to avoid each other at my major events by coordinating through me. Dad would come to my fall events, Mom would come to spring ones, or they'd sit on opposite sides of venues. It wasn't ideal, but it worked, and most importantly, it kept the peace. 3 weeks ago, I sent both of them my graduation details. The ceremony was at 2 p.m., followed by a family dinner I had planned at a nice restaurant at 6 p.m. I specifically told both of them about the restaurant reservation because I wanted them to know this was important to me, and I was hoping they could both be there without drama. My mom immediately confirmed she'd be at both the ceremony and dinner. My dad said he'd try to make it work, but didn't give me a definitive answer, which is typical for him. He's been flaky about my events ever since he remarried. Fast forward to graduation day. I'm sitting in the staging area with my fellow graduates, excited and nervous. My mom texts me a picture of herself in the auditorium with the message, "So proud of you, honey. You've got this." She's sitting in the 3rd row, right side, wearing this beautiful blue dress and holding a bouquet of flowers. About 20 minutes before the ceremony starts, I get a text from my dad. Running a bit late, but we'll be there. Note the we. I had assumed Jessica would come, but he never explicitly confirmed it. The ceremony begins, and everything is going perfectly. When they call my name, I walk across the stage, and I can see my mom in the audience standing up and cheering. It was such a proud moment, and I felt so grateful that despite everything our family had been through, she was there celebrating with me. After the ceremony, graduates are supposed to meet their families in the lobby for pictures. I'm looking around for my mom when I hear raised voices near the entrance. I turn around and there's my dad with Jessica, and they're arguing with my mom. I quickly walk over, and here's what I pieced together from their heated conversation. My dad and Jessica had arrived just as the ceremony was ending. Instead of finding their own seats or waiting in the lobby, my dad saw my mom and decided to walk over to her row. He apparently told the people sitting next to my mom that those were his seats and that there had been a misunderstanding. When my mom tried to explain that she had been sitting there for over an hour and that these people didn't need to move, my dad got loud and said, "I'm her father. I should be sitting with her mother for our daughter's graduation." Jessica, according to my mom, then said, "We drove 2 hours to get here, and we're not standing in the back because his ex-wife wants to play victim." My mom, bless her, kept her voice low and tried to de-escalate, but my dad kept insisting that family should sit together and that my mom was being difficult as usual. By the time I got there, several other families were staring, and I was mortified. I pulled my dad aside and asked him what was happening. "Your mother is causing a scene because Jessica and I wanted to sit with the family," he said. "Dad, you guys were late. Mom got here early and saved those seats for her friends from work who came to support me. You could have sat anywhere else in the auditorium. I shouldn't have to sit away from my own daughter's graduation because Sarah can't be mature." At this point, Jessica jumped in. "We made a special trip for this, and we shouldn't be punished because she got here first. This is a family event." I was so frustrated. "Jessica, my mom is my family. She's the one who helped me with college applications, visited me on campus, and supported me through everything. She earned her spot here." "I'm your stepmother," Jessica said, like that meant something. For context, Jessica has never once asked about my grades, my major, my career plans, or really anything about my life. She knows I study computers, and that's about it. My mom finally came over and said, "It's okay, honey. I can sit somewhere else if it means avoiding drama on your special day." This made me furious. My mom, who had sacrificed so much and been there for everything, was willing to give up her seat to keep the peace. Meanwhile, my dad and Jessica, who couldn't even be bothered to show up on time, were demanding priority seating. "No," I said. "Mom, you're staying exactly where you are. Dad, you and Jessica can find other seats or leave. I'm not letting anyone ruin this day." My dad got that look he used to get during the divorce, like he was about to explode but was trying to control himself in public. "I can't believe you're choosing sides like this." "I'm not choosing sides. I'm standing up for the person who has consistently shown up for me." Jessica then said something that I will probably never forget. "Your mother has poisoned you against your father and me. This is exactly what we expected." I laughed, actually laughed, because it was so absurd. "Jessica, my mom has never said a single negative word about either of you in front of me. Every opinion I have about you is based on your own actions and words." "That's not true. She's clearly manipulated you." "Really? Like when you told me I couldn't come to your wedding because you wanted it to be about starting fresh? Or when you said I made you uncomfortable because I look like my mom? Or when you forgot my birthday 3 years in a row? Or when you told my dad he shouldn't pay for my college because I wasn't really your responsibility? My mom manipulated you into saying all of that." Jessica went bright red. My dad looked shocked. I guess he didn't realize I knew about some of those things. "How did you?" Jessica started. "How did I know?" "Because Dad tells me things when he's had too much wine and feels guilty. And before you ask, no, Mom doesn't know about most of it because I didn't want to hurt her feelings." At this point, people were definitely staring. My mom looked horrified, not because of what I said, but because there was a scene at all. My dad tried a different approach. Look, we're all here for you. Can't we just take some pictures and move on? Sure, I said. We can take pictures separately. What do you mean separately? I mean, I'll take pictures with Mom and her friends, and then I'll take pictures with you and Jessica. I'm not doing one big happy family photo when we're not one big happy family. Jessica looked like she was about to cry. This is so hurtful. I've tried so hard to be a good stepmother to you. I probably should have just let it go, but I was beyond done.
When?
When have you tried? You've made it clear since day one that I'm an inconvenience in your life with my dad. You scheduled your honeymoon during my high school graduation. You forgot to invite me to your housewarming party. You roll your eyes every time Dad mentions me. You've never asked about my friends, my interests, my goals, or really anything about who I am as a person. The only reason you're here today is because Dad probably made you come. That's not. Jessica was stammering. It's fine, I said. I stopped expecting anything from you years ago. But don't stand here and pretend you've been trying to build a relationship when we both know you haven't. My dad looked like he wanted to defend Jessica, but he also looked uncomfortable because I think he knew I was right. We drove 2 hours to be here, he said finally. And Mom worked extra shifts at the hospital to afford the flowers and the dinner reservation. What's your point? The whole argument probably lasted about 10 minutes, but it felt like an hour. Finally, my mom suggested we all just take separate pictures and leave it at that. We did pictures, but the whole thing was tense and awkward. Jessica barely smiled. My dad kept trying to act like everything was normal, and my mom looked like she wanted to disappear. After pictures, I reminded everyone about the dinner reservation. My mom confirmed she'd be there. My dad looked at Jessica, and she shook her head. We might not make dinner, Dad said. Jessica has a headache. From what? I asked. From all this drama, Jessica replied. What drama? The drama you created by demanding someone else's seats. I think we should go, Jessica said to my dad. And they left. They just left. My graduation day, and they left because Jessica was embarrassed that I called out her behavior. My mom and I went to dinner with her 2 coworkers who had come to the ceremony, and honestly, it was lovely. They asked thoughtful questions about my job prospects, shared stories about their own kids, and made me feel celebrated. It was exactly what I needed. But I keep thinking about what happened, and I'm torn between feeling justified and feeling like maybe I was too harsh. On one hand, everything I said was true. Jessica has never made an effort with me, and my dad has been flaky and selfish since the divorce. They showed up late to MY graduation and then tried to displace my mom, who has been my rock through everything. On the other hand, they did drive 2 hours to be there, and I probably didn't need to air all of Jessica's shortcomings in public. Maybe I could have handled it more diplomatically. My mom says I stood up for myself appropriately and that she's proud of me for not letting anyone walk all over me. But she also seems sad about the whole situation, which makes me feel guilty. My dad texted me this morning saying he was disappointed in my behavior and that he expected better from me. He said Jessica was very hurt by what I said and that I owe her an apology. I haven't responded because I honestly don't know what to say. Part of me feels like I should apologize for the public nature of the confrontation, but I don't feel sorry for anything I actually said. Jessica sent me a long text about how she's tried so hard to have a relationship with me and how painful it is to be rejected by her stepdaughter. She said she's always felt like she was competing with my mother's memory and that it's been difficult to find her place. The thing is, she's not competing with my mother's memory. She's competing with my actual living mother, who has been present and supportive through everything. And the reason she can't find her place is because she's never actually tried to earn one. I'm starting my first job in 2 weeks at a tech company, and I should be excited about this new chapter. Instead, I'm stressed about my family situation and wondering if I handled this all wrong. Did I overreact? Should I apologize to keep the peace? Or was I right to stand up for my mom and myself? I'm also wondering how to handle future events. I have a job celebration dinner planned for next month that I wanted both parents to attend, but now I'm not sure that's possible. Edit. Some people have asked about the specifics of what Jessica said about me over the years. Here are the main incidents. When Dad got remarried, Jessica told him she wanted their wedding to be about starting their new life together, and that having me there would be a reminder of the past. I wasn't invited to their wedding. When I was 17, I overheard Jessica tell my dad that I made her uncomfortable because I had Sarah's eyes and expressions, and it was like having a ghost in the house. She forgot my birthday 3 consecutive years, ages 18, 19, and 20. When I mentioned it to my dad, he said Jessica was still adjusting to having a stepchild. When I was applying for colleges and my dad was complaining about the cost, Jessica said I should take out loans like everyone else because I wasn't really her responsibility financially. They had a housewarming party for their new house and invited my dad's entire extended family except me. When I asked about it, Jessica said it was an oversight. Last Christmas, Jessica bought gifts for my dad's nephews, her new step-nephews, but nothing for me. When my dad pointed this out, she said she didn't know what I was into. So when she says she's tried so hard, I honestly don't know what she's referring to. Edit 2. I should clarify something about the seating situation. The auditorium had open seating, no assigned seats. My mom got there an hour early and chose seats in the 3rd row. Her 2 coworkers from the hospital came with her to support me, and they saved seats together. When Dad and Jessica arrived late, they could have sat anywhere in the auditorium. There were plenty of empty seats, including some in the same section as my mom, just a few rows back or over. Instead, Dad specifically targeted the seats next to my mom and tried to get the people sitting there to move. Looking back, I think this might have been intentional. I think Dad wanted to create a united family image, maybe to make himself feel better about the divorce or to show Jessica that he could control the situation. But it backfired spectacularly. Edit 3. Several people have mentioned that this might be about more than just seating, and I think you're right. This feels like it might have been the breaking point for a lot of built-up resentment and frustration. For years, I've been walking on eggshells around Jessica, trying not to rock the boat, accepting her dismissive behavior because I wanted to maintain a relationship with my dad. But I'm 22 now, I just graduated college, and I'm starting my career. Maybe it was time to stop pretending everything was fine when it wasn't. My mom has never asked me to choose sides or put me in the middle of their conflict. She's never badmouthed Jessica or tried to limit my relationship with my dad. But Jessica has consistently made it clear that she sees me as an unwelcome reminder of my dad's past, and yesterday, I finally called her out on it. I'm realizing that I might have been protecting Jessica's feelings at the expense of my own for years. And maybe that needed to stop. Edit 4. I got another text from my dad about an hour ago. He said he and Jessica want to work things out and suggested we all have lunch together next week to clear the air. I'm not sure how I feel about this. Part of me wants to repair the relationship, especially with my dad. But I also don't want to sit through a lunch where I'm expected to apologize for telling the truth or where Jessica gets to play victim. I think if I do agree to meet with them, I need to set some ground rules. No gaslighting or rewriting history. No expecting me to apologize for facts. Acknowledgement that Jessica's behavior over the years has been hurtful. A genuine conversation about how to move forward, not just rug sweeping. I'm not sure they're capable of that kind of honest conversation, but maybe it's worth trying? Edit 5. I called my mom to talk through the lunch invitation. She said the decision is entirely mine, but she reminded me that I shouldn't feel obligated to have a relationship with people who don't treat me well, even if they're family. She also said something that really stuck with me. You've spent years trying to earn Jessica's acceptance and your father's consistent presence. But relationships shouldn't be about earning basic respect and love. They should be about mutual care and support. I think she's right. I've been so focused on trying to make things work with Dad and Jessica that I haven't stepped back to ask whether the relationship is actually good for me. Edit 6. Update on the situation. I decided to respond to my dad's lunch invitation. I told him I'd be willing to meet, but only if he and Jessica were prepared to have an honest conversation about our relationship and how to improve it going forward. I also said that I wouldn't be apologizing for standing up for my mom or for pointing out factual issues with Jessica's behavior over the years. His response was immediate and not encouraging. I think you're being unrealistic. Jessica is very hurt, and the mature thing would be to apologize and move on. So apparently, the clear the air lunch would have been Jessica and Dad expecting me to take full responsibility for the situation and promise to be more accommodating in the future. I told him that wasn't going to happen and that if he wanted to have a real relationship with me, he needed to acknowledge that I'm an adult who deserves respect, not a child who should be grateful for whatever scraps of attention he's willing to give me. He hasn't responded to that text yet. Edit 7. It's been about 12 hours since my last exchange with my dad, and I've been thinking a lot about this whole situation. I keep coming back to something my mom said years ago during the divorce. Some people show you who they are through their actions, not their words. Looking at my dad's actions over the past 7 years, he chose to have an affair rather than address problems in his marriage. He dragged out the divorce to avoid financial responsibility. He married his affair partner 6 months after the divorce was finalized. He's consistently prioritized Jessica's comfort over my well-being. He's been flaky about important events in my life. He's never addressed Jessica's dismissive behavior toward me. He showed up late to my graduation and then tried to displace my mom. He left my graduation early because Jessica was embarrassed. He's now demanding I apologize for telling the truth. These aren't the actions of someone who prioritizes our relationship or my well-being. These are the actions of someone who wants the appearance of being a good father without actually doing the work. I think I've been holding on to hope that he would eventually step up and be the dad I needed, but I'm starting to realize that might not happen. And that's on him, not on me. The irony is incredible. They're punishing me for demanding respect by withdrawing their presence, as if their presence has been consistent or valuable. Honestly, I feel relieved. For the first time in years, I don't have to worry about managing my dad's emotions or protecting Jessica's feelings or walking on eggshells to maintain a relationship that was mostly one-sided anyway. I'm starting my dream job in 2 weeks. I have an amazing relationship with my mom, and I'm surrounded by people who support and celebrate me. I don't need to keep chasing after people who see me as a burden or an inconvenience. If my dad decides he wants to be a real father someday, he knows where to find me. But I'm done begging for scraps of his attention and acceptance. My graduation day didn't go the way I planned, but in a weird way, it gave me clarity about what I want my life to look like going forward. And that life doesn't include tolerating disrespect from anyone, family, or otherwise. Thank you to everyone who validated my feelings and helped me see this situation clearly. Sometimes you need outside perspectives to realize that you're not the problem. Time to focus on the future and the people who actually deserve space in my life.